Cindy, how are you today?
I'm doing just fine.
Good. I had just had a couple of brief questions about executive compensation I wanted to ask you. The first is, could you explain your job description, skills, and responsibilities for your position so that everybody could get to know you?
Sure. Well, first of all, my name is Cindy Gale. I am the Chief Human Resource Officer for the organization where I work. And in the role that I play, I'm a strategic business partner that works with the CEO and board of directors and other executives to make sure that we align strategy based on what our vision and mission statement for the company is. And in that role, some of the criteria that's needed is experience in human resources at a managerial level in order to be in the Chief Human Resource Officer level. So that requires 10 years experience, it requires certification as an HR professional, and then it requires either a BA or BS degree, or a preference would be a master's degree.
Okay. Yeah, that's a lot of skills that you need, don't you? What do you think of executives' overall compensation? Do you believe it's fair or unfair? Too much, too little? What's your opinion of it?
Executive compensation, in my years of experience, the first of all, you have to look at different variables.
Correct.
One of the variables has the person, and just as an example, let's just take a chief operating officer, for example.
Okay.
Let's just say that individual maybe had a role as a VP of operations, or maybe had been in a role of a director of operations, and is promotable based on some of the knowledge and experience. In that situation, the person may be promotable from within an organization, because that's one of the goals, is to promote from within whenever possible.
Correct.
And in that situation, that individual might come in at a lower pay grade because they're going to be in training for that higher level position. That's one variable. Are they in training? Are we promoting them up? Are they new to that experience or that position? Another variable is, are you bringing somebody into that role that has a lot of experience, has proven capabilities of meeting goals and objectives for the organization? In that situation, you're going to bring an individual into a role like that at a higher level pay rate.
Correct.
So there's variables that factor into that situation. But overall, I believe compensation is getting to where it needs to be. We have to also factor in the gender role, women versus men, or minorities versus, or their ethnic background. Mm-hmm. When factoring that in, statistically, a person can pull data that says that women or minorities do not always get higher compensation in the higher roles, or the lower roles for that matter, right?
Yeah.
So when factoring that in, that's another piece of the equation. So I can't say that compensation is completely fair and equal based on statistical data that the U.S. has provided. At our organization, I believe it's fair, because we do try to be fair and equal when we're looking at the different compensation.
We do, because that's our role, so we pay attention to that. Right. Since you kind of had a mixed emotions about it, let me ask you, for the kind of, it could use improvements, what improvements do you think could be made overall? I know at our organization we're pretty fair, but what do you think, what improvements do you think other organizations can use to improve executive compensation? Do you have any?
Well, if a person, well, first of all, we know that there's an issue across the U.S., and to back that up, we can fall back on President Obama's comments about trying to get legislation in place for equal pay for women and minorities. So
Correct.
We know there is statistical data to back up what we're saying, and that's very important. In order to close the gap, it's going to be a lot of variables. women need to demand more pay when they're qualified for a position and when they're searching out. Companies and top executives, when they're bringing these people or recruiting these people in, need to offer fair and equal pay for a job that they're going to be performing. So it should not matter if it's a woman, a man, a minority, whatever the situation is. It could even be today a transgender or anything like that. We don't look at that. We should look just strictly at, do they have the education? Do they have the experience? Do they have the capabilities to drive what the company needs to complete the role and the position to achieve the mission and vision of the organization? If companies can get to that point, we will have a lot better, more fair, and a more equal pay and compensation across the board, not only at executive level, but lower levels.
I agree completely. Was there any extra comments you had, or was that everything?
I believe that's it. I believe it's a good topic. I think there's a lot of data on it. I do know that the women are closing the gap on top executive pays.
Yeah.
If you look at Microsoft or you look at Google and things like that, you'll see where some of the top women executives are getting paid more money. But we still have a little ways to go, and it's something that everybody has to come together and work on, and just try to become more fair and equal in the roles that we're trying to fill and do.
I agree completely, and thank you for your time.